Hi, everybody. Harry Blackout here for another Jazz from the Combs. I got a joke to tell you, though. You get a kick out of this. What do you call a cow who has just given birth? Anybody know? Decaffeinated. That breaks me up every time I hear it. Hey, we have a stellar group tonight. John Brighenti Trio featuring Erin from Connecticut. We have John on piano, Barry Smith on bass, Bobby Tamagni on drums, and Erin. We have a canary tonight. The first tune they're going to do is All of You, Cole Porter, the obligatory Cole Porter tune. And then they're going to do Folks Who Live on the Hill, and we'll do Jazz Speak. So sit back, relax, the John Brighenti Trio.
I love the look of you, of you. I'd love to make a tour of you. The eyes, the arms, the mouth of you. The east, west, north, and the south of you. I'd love to gain complete control of you and handle even the heart and soul of you. So love at least a small percent of me do. For I love all of you. We'll build a home on a hilltop high, you and I, shiny and new, a cottage that two can fill. And we'll be pleased to be called the folks who live on the hill. Ooh, someday we may be adding a thing or two, a wing or two. We will make changes as any family will, but we will always be called the folks who live on the hill. Our veranda will command a view of meadows green, the sort of view that seems to want to be seen. And when the kids grow up and leave us, we'll sit and look at that same old view, just we two, Darby and Joan, who used to be Jack and Jill, the folks who like to be called what they have always been called, the folks who live on the hill.
Hi, everybody. Harry Platkow here. This is Jazz Speak. This is where we get a chance to talk to the musicians who are playing tonight. And we have with us John Brighenti Trio featuring Erin Olanek on vocals. And we have Bobby Tamagni on drums, Barry Smith on bass, Erin on vocals, and John on piano. John, I'm going to ask you something. The word on the street is that you studied under Lenny Tristano.
I did for 1 year.
Can you tell us about Lenny's contribution to jazz? He seems to have fallen by the wayside. A lot of people don't recognize his genius.
Well, I read, I think it was about 2 years ago, that some of his former students have really brought his name up again in New York. And of course, he was the only jazz musician who ever had a jazz school named after him.
Mm-hmm. Which one was that?
It was the Lenny Tristano School.
Where, in New York?
Right. It was in New York. He was in Hollis, Long Island.
Okay.
And the thing is that, even Charlie Parker, it wasn't named after him, and Dizzy or any of these people, even Louis Armstrong. It wasn't. They didn't have a name, and that was something that caught me some years ago. But when I studied with Lenny, though, he had a different method because he was blind.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he could just see shadows. And interesting stories. Different musicians I asked him about. It was very, very interesting what he had to say. But one thing really caught me, and I know some friends of mine that are jazz musicians, and they found this really interesting. The Tammany Hall concert with Charlie Parker in 1953.
Yeah.
I've scattered some songs from that album, those two albums. He had, of course, Dizzy, Bird, Max, Mingus, and Bud. He called Lenny and said, "I'm putting you on hold in case Bud doesn't make it." Mm-hmm. How many people know that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were really close. And he told me that Charlie once told him, he said, I'm thinking about starting a record company with you, but he never did get it off, the ground. But he loved Bird. They were close. Of course, they recorded in Europe together. And I met a drummer in Vegas who's still around. He's still living. He's in his 90s. And his name is Benny Benet. And he was shot down over France in the 40s. Lived over there for over 20 years. He worked with Dizzy's Latin jazz band. He worked also with Don Byas for years. Yeah. He also was on an album I have. It's a double album, actually, but there's 1/4 of it was a Clifford Brown in Paris quartet, and he's playing drums on that.
Cool.
So that was something, you could play with Clifford. And Benny was quite a guy. I loved him. He's great. Yeah. We did some Latin gigs out there. He had charts, and it was fun.
Does the name Peter Ind mean anything to you?
Yes, he played bass with Lenny, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
I met Peter Ind.
Wow.
I was over in England many years ago.
Is he still living? Do you know?
I don't know. He may be still dead. I don't know. But he told me some interesting stories when he was studying with Lenny. Lenny was very structured. Yep. He wanted everybody to learn tunes being played straight, no improvisation whatsoever. And he also wanted in different keys, in all the keys, play whatever it is in all the keys, play it straight. I think Lee Konitz may have mentioned this at one point. He was a very strict disciplinarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was, but when I studied with him, though, he'd have you play scales with odd fingerings. I read once where Roger Williams, remember Roger Williams, the pianist? Mm-hmm. He studied with me. He got so fed up he left. He couldn't take it. It's funny. But Phil Wood studied with him. Sheila Jordan studied with him. And there were some others. Bud Freeman. A lot of different big names in jazz studied with Lenny.
Yeah.
And he was a marvelous guy. I mean, he had, obviously, most of the people I talked to him about he loved. I mean, obviously he loved Billie Holiday in L.A. He knew all of them, Teddy Wilson was a close friend. And the trumpet player before Dizzy.
Fats Navarro?
No, for him, between Lewis and, I know him, I can't think of his name.
Roy Eldridge.
Roy Eldridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Roy too. I met him one time at a club and he said, "Oh, Lenny, how was he?" He says, "Oh, I love Lenny, this was so great." But they were close buddies.
Cool.
Yeah, and Lenny was just, I really dug him. One time I went down, my father would drive me sometimes, so I'd be listening to music on the way down. Anyway, he goes in and Lenny was telling him that, he had trouble with his bathroom, his toilet, something broke. He had a plumbing. And he hired guys, and they never fixed it. My father took the part home, brought it back, and fixed it for him.
Cool.
And he loved it.
Fixed
My
his
dad was
plumbing.
mechanical. Yeah, fixed his plumbing. That was my father. He had to fix everything.
I want to thank you very much for doing the Cole Porter tune. That was very nice, very nice.
That was great.
We're going to be listening to these guys play a couple of more tunes, and we're going to be listening to them play In Walked Bud, Thelonious Monk tune,
Right.
and Night in Tunisia. And I didn't know there were words to Night in Tunisia. Can you grace us with a couple of lyrics?
Never really.
No?
He has no need of lyrics.
I should, but
Erin O'Lonick. Is that a Welsh name?
It's Gaelic.
Gaelic, okay.
Yeah.
And you're a poet.
Yes, I am.
We're going to be talking to you about that when we return. We'll be right back after they play a couple of more tunes. And welcome back to Jazz Speak. This is where we get a chance to talk to the musicians who are with us tonight, and I want to talk to Erin Olanek. You are an amazing, amazing young lady. I love the way you sing.
Thank you.
And is that your mom who's in the audience tonight?
Yes.
She tells me you're a poet. You're going for your master's degree in poetry?
Yes, I am. I don't know if you can call me a poet yet, but yeah.
Well, you're published.
Yeah, but
That makes you a poet.
Have a long way to go. Yeah.
Now, are you going to have to do a thesis to get a
Yes,
master's?
yes.
And do you know what your thesis is going to be?
The thesis is actually for creative degrees. It is a creative work, so I'm going to have a book-length manuscript of poetry by the end.
Wow, a book length.
Yeah.
Oh
40 poems about.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Can you grace us with one of your pieces?
Oh my goodness. I think I can. I think I have one memorized. Are you sure you want to hear it?
Lay it on us.
Okay. If I forget. Chickpeas in the well can't make a thump if the headache be cured, say wise old ones who know. Damn the changing winds in Santa Croce and the fresh wire stitches tracing south to water, steam, and graft. They know why you wake. They know why you wake with scratched livid arms, and why the babies you'll never bear are better off for the ways they could be carried off and hung in the mountains at night. Be wise the 17s, they say, the owls hoot, the dreams of figs out of season. Padre shakes his head, assures an empty nave that wise old ones will pass their way to droll and painless memory.
Incredible.
I don't know if I got that right. But.
Was it pretty much automatic writing? Did this come to you? Did you have to put a lot of thought into it?
Yeah, a lot of thought. Yeah, no, I was always a writer. I always enjoyed writing.
Yeah.
I used to write little stories in school.
Yeah.
And that was my bag until I kind of accidentally found out that I could sing and that I liked singing and that this is something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I always think of writing as my main pursuit,
Yeah.
and of singing, since I came into it so late and I kind of fell into it, I think of it as like this extra little thing that I'm just really lucky to have discovered and to take part in.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wish you a lot of luck in your studies.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking to Barry Smith and Bobby Tamagni, but we're going to listen to a couple of more tunes, and they are going to do Someday My Prince Will Come, and It Could Happen to You, and one more tune, right? Black Coffee. Black Coffee. We'll be right back after a couple of more tunes.
Hide your heart from sight, lock your dreams at night. It could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh and down you tumble. Keep an eye on spring, run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your arms would be, and it happened to me. apart from sight, like your dreams at night. It could happen to you. No, don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh and down you tumble. Keep an eye on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. Oh, I did was wonder how your arms would be, and it happened, and it happened, and it happened to I'm feeling mighty lonesome, haven't slept a wink. I walk the floor and watch the door, and in between I drink black coffee. Love's a hand-me-down brew. I'll never know a Sunday in this weekday room. I'm talking to the shadows, 1 o'clock till 4, and Lord, how slow the moments go when all I do is pour black coffee. Since the blues caught my eye, I'm hanging out on Monday, my Sunday dreams too dry. Now a man is born to go a-loving, a woman's born to weep and fret, to stay at home and tend her oven and drown her past regrets in coffee and cigarettes. I'm mourning all the morning, mourning all the night, and in between it's nicotine and not much hard to fight. Black coffee, feeling low as the ground. It's driving me crazy, this waiting for my baby to maybe come around. Ooh.
And welcome back to Jazz Speak. I'm Harry Plackow. We're talking to the guys, to the people in the John Brighenti trio. Bobby Tamagni on drums, Barry Smith on bass. Erin, I'm going to mess up your name.
Olanick.
Everyone does.
Olanick, okay. Erin Olanick, and we got the man right here, John Brighenti on piano. What a wonderful sound you guys got tonight. It was really a joy listening to you. Now, let me ask you, Barry, I haven't spoken to you in a long time. Where are folks apt to hear you play these days?
Well, not too many places.
Not too many places?
Not as many as I'd like, but
You still doing the Top of the Hub?
yeah, I'm doing that again in July 14th through whatever that Saturday is
Yeah.
at the end of the week.
Cool.
With Tony Corelli's quintet, so
Uh-huh.
that's always fun.
Good.
Kenny Savenka on piano and Peter Moores on drums and trumpet. Kenny on trumpet.
Do you work with Bobby up there at the Top of the Hub? You guys ever
Occasionally,
work
I
together?
sub
We
every now and then.
Yeah.
And we did
We've
some
done-
things
we've
with
Quite a few up there, actually.
Chris Taylor. We used to do a bunch of nights up there with Chris. And, yeah, so we get to do it, but I don't get to play with him enough. You know.
Yeah.
It's,
But, yeah,
it's always it's always fun.
One thing that I learned from doing these shows is that when the musicians play, they're in conversation with themselves. Now, Bobby and Barry have never met these folks before. Tell me about the conversation that took place. Was it labored? Was it easy to get into? Barry?
Yeah, I think it's always easy, but it's always interesting too, because we all sort of know some of the standard tunes that we played tonight, but to be able to bring, it brings a freshness to it when you play with people that sort of know the same material that you know, but bring something different, or a different feel, a different, chord here or there, or whatever. It just leads you in different directions, and we're all listening to each other and sort of following.
Bobby, what was it like for you working with these guys?
It's always an interesting process, I find. That's why I do it. It's improvisational music, which really means you start with a tune that's familiar, but then you go wherever it wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're with people that you know very well, there's a certain amount of trust there, and you know how to listen to each other. It's sort of like a marriage, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you bring new people together, like such as this, brand new people who they must know, we've never met before, or they should know, because Barry and I, who know each other, have met two new people and made completely different music with two new people.
Yeah.
And what that causes is it really requires you to kind of step back and listen a lot more and say, okay, I need to know what these people do. I can't just go throw my stuff into what they already have established. Or so there's more like that trust has to be gained first, and give and take starts to happen within. I think as the set goes on, you start to gather more momentum and more trust, and and the journey becomes a little bit safer, so you can take more chances.
It was good listening to you guys talk tonight. As far as the conversation is concerned, it was very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Erin, let me ask you one more question before we close out. Is there any one composer lyricist, is there any one lyricist whose tunes you like doing more than anybody else?
I love Ira Gershwin, and anyone who works with Harold Arlen.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite song it's a bit cliche, but my favorite song is Over the Rainbow, and I believe that was Yip Harbor.
Yip Harbor, sure.
So I love that tune. I don't think of the lyrics as being separate from the tune. I think of it as a cohesive whole.
Okay.
But I think if I had to choose one, it would be Gershwin.
Gershwin, huh?
Yeah. But I do love Cole Porter.
Yeah.
Love,
Everybody should love Cole Porter.
love Hammerstein. Yeah.
Really.
The John Brighenti Trio, everybody. Bobby Tamagni on drums, Barry Smith, Erin Lonick.
It's
Okay.
the only time.
Yeah,
It's good.
And John
know.
Brighenti
Change it
on
to
piano.
Smith, if it's-
What?
She should change it to Smith. should be
Smith.
I know.
I wish.
I know.
Yeah.
No, Smith is
Thanks for
Brothers
coming
band.
down, everybody. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching Jazz from the Combs. We hopefully will see you next month with a new show. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Be warm, be cool, and keep bopping. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. All right? That's it.
Oh boy.
The John Brighenti Trio, ladies and gentlemen, featuring Erin Lonick, John Brighenti on piano, Barry Smith on bass, Bobby Tamagni on drums, and Erin Lonick on vocals. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show, folks. We'll see you next month. In the meantime, be well, stay warm, be cool, and keep bopping. Talk to you later.